Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Car Motivators Podcast. I'm your host today, Justin Dumas. With me, I have Mike Lasuzzo of Torq Distribution, Arkansas, and BG Products. If you're in a service department anywhere in the country, I know you've heard of BG Products. Mike today is going to explain their advantages over the competition and why you should be selling them in your service drive. So hello, Mike. Thanks for joining me today.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Not a problem at all. So, Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself and Torq Distribution and give us a little bit of your history.
Yeah. So, I started out in this business working on the consulting side, actually, with a company called Dynatron Software. I'm sure there's a few listeners out there that's heard of Dynatron. I used to travel around the country and install electronic menus, electronic multi-points, and sell those. So anyways, long story boring, ended up landing a role with the St. Louis organization, BG Services at the time. I worked in Columbia as a BG rep for 3.5 years or so. Obviously, that's where you and I met.
That's where we met. Yeah.
Which is great. And then Arkansas became available for the organization, and I decided to buy in and have a little piece of it and grow my own thing. So we've now been in Arkansas for a little over 4 years now.
Awesome.
So yeah, kind of a quick overview there, but Arkansas has been really good to us. Like during that transition, we saw a really big need in the market for not only BG fluid maintenance, that's obviously going to be the opportunity, but my business partners purchased another company that had supply stuff. When I say supply stuff, shop supplies, janitorial, building supplies, things like that, and that market was very well underserved. And based on our processes and the way we communicate with clients and our service that we deliver, we saw a need. And that's whenever we kind of combined the two and made us Torq Distribution and figured out how we can serve our clients from corner to corner and help them be profitable, right? That's the end goal.
Yeah.
And you can certainly address those both with supplies and with fluid maintenance. So that's
awesome. So you guys are kind of all encompassing now. You handle the front to the back. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. So if you can flush maybe one day we can't flush transmissions, but we'll all be able to flush a toilet. So we got toilet paper if you need that too. So
awesome. So tell me a little bit more about BG Products. Why should a dealer select BG Products? There is some competition out there, and we'll talk here in a minute about what advantage you have over them. But BG in particular, tell me your take on why they should sell BG.
Well, I think it's selling fluid maintenance, right? So if we think about all the right KPIs inside of a dealership, right? You got effective labor rate, you've got hours per RO, you got shop efficiency, you got fixed absorption. You can rattle off 30 more, and guess what my answer is going to be? Let's sell more cans, right? So the way I always look at it whenever we're talking about BG and fluid maintenance is naturally, certainly today, we cannot control internal, right? Do we have cars? Do we not have? So let's take that off the beat. The second is warranty. Are we going to get an airbag recall? Are we going to get a brake master cylinder recall from Ford? We can't rely on that. So the only thing that we as business partners of these dealerships and automotive repair facilities, only we can control is customer pay. And in order to hit our metrics and our specific things that's got to take us there to be more profitable, we've got to sell stuff, right? It's nice whenever an engine comes in on a tow truck and we got to replace that, right? But we have to educate. Our job is to educate clients on what's due on their vehicle, the fluid condition, so we can maintain their vehicle because they can't buy a new one right now. There's not many options out there.
You're right.
So in a nutshell, for me, selling fluid maintenance, BG in particular, if you're struggling with hours per hour, if you're struggling within those metrics, it fits the bill.
So tell me, as I travel around the country, I have a lot of advisors that aren't necessarily buying the good that BG Products do for their vehicle. Maybe they just haven't been around it long enough. Maybe their rep is not going in and training like you do. I know that you used to come in and say, hey, somebody grab a car and bring it up here and let's do all these different services to it so they can actually feel the difference. I remember doing an EPR service with you where, we upped the compression of this Honda Civic by, 25 PSI per cylinder. And, that's something tangible that they can see.
Yeah.
I think when the advisors see that, they sell it with more confidence.
Absolutely.
So what around the country do you think other BG places could do? And what do you do to help the advisors sell?
Yeah. So honestly, I'm going to take a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but this is our sales training process, right? Because if I go in with the BG can on my head and I'm cheering and talking about BG, we're going to fail, right? So really, it starts out with a process that we do, and we do this outside sales training for us, in particular for our company. It's the Torq selling process now, but part of that is the success triangle. So I'd like to break this down a little bit to kind of explain where I start that party. So if you were to draw a triangle right now, on the bottom left, you got a B, at the top, you got an A, and at the bottom right, you got a T. So in the top of that triangle, A stands for attitude. So if you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you're like, today's going to be a bad day, very likely you're going to have a bad day. Very likely that client that pulls up on the drive at 7:30 or at 4:55, the look on your face is going to tell the story, right?
Yeah.
So you can control that. You can control your attitude. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't have pom-poms in my back pockets. I'm not Mr. Excited. But the one thing that I do every day when my feet hit the ground at 4:05 in the morning, I say today's going to be a good day. If that's the least thing I can do, I got my mindset right whenever I'm walking in to do business.
Absolutely.
So everything starts there. Attitude, A at the top. Now, the bottom left-hand side, if you drew it on a piece of paper in front of you, the B stands for behavior. So from an advisor perspective, behavior could be pulling history before the client gets there so they're prepared. Could be presenting some kind of maintenance menu. Could be presenting the multi-points, any type of behavior. Now, if they're not doing the behavior, they have a great attitude, they're not working on the behavior, they're not going to really do much. They're not going to sell much. They're going to be a good order taker, right?
Yeah.
I like to refer to it kind of like baseball, right? If I have a great attitude, I just got my call up to the major leagues, and I'm on deck, and I'm like, man, I'm going to rock this guy. I got a good attitude, but I get in the box and I never swing the bat. I'm not going to hit the ball. In the major leagues, you don't just get walked all the time. So we got to get in the box and we got to swing the bat. And we got to figure out what those processes are and how they work. And then finally, on the bottom right-hand side, T stands for technique. Now that I can help you with, right? So if you got a great attitude and you're doing the behavior, but you're not getting the results you want, then we have an opportunity to train on technique, give you word tracks, and kind of walk through. So my set standard, set base on how I can help an advisor or even a service manager is to figure out where we are on that triangle, right? If we got a bad attitude, we need to back up. If we're not doing the behaviors, we need to go swing the bat. If we are doing those two things, then that's where I can come in. I can actually help you on technique. So
awesome. So what specific advantages does BG have over the competition? You go to different stores. I know there are large groups that have their own chemical companies. There's, this, that, and the other. What advantage does BG have over the competition in particular?
The great thing about BG is the product itself is not on trial. So I don't have to go in and sell that, hey, this can of 44K works, right? The biggest advantage, in my opinion, that BG has is our research and development, the equipment, utilization from an efficiency standpoint, and then the support that you get from your team in the field, from our team in the field.
Absolutely.
I'm not interested, to be frank, I'm not interested in being just a vendor of a client. I want to be a business partner. The only way that I can really help you grow is if you want me to help you grow. And that's how we help each other. If I look at my best relationship with a client, we challenge each other on a regular basis, both personally and professionally. I hold them accountable. They hold me accountable to my actions. So I think the biggest differentiator really is our BG corporate's willingness to, from an automation perspective and making sure equipment and fittings are there and available to us to make that technician that more efficient. Training materials and things for advisors, little story cards for the drive. And then naturally what we can bring to the table from a support perspective and really taking their game to the next level.